Have you taken a day off, slept in, done absolutely nothing, and still feel exhausted? And I'm not talking about being just a little tired. I'm talking about being completely drained. It's as though the rest didn't even do anything at all. That's the part nobody talks about. We've been taught early on that if you're tired, just rest. But what if that's not actually the problem? What if the reason that you still feel exhausted is because you're resting in a way that your body doesn't even need? In today's video, I'm going to break down why rest isn't working for you and what your exhaustion is actually trying to tell you. As a former HR leader, I've worked with managers at all levels, including individual contributors. And we make plenty of decisions a day. Did you know that the average person makes approximately 35,000 decisions a day? That's the average person. So if you have a role that requires you to make many important decisions, solve challenging problems, and have pressure to perform at a high level, your brain is in overdrive. So when you rest, your body might stop, but your mind doesn't, because it's still running loops, replaying conversations in your head, and thinking about what's next. And then you wonder, why am I still so tired? It's because your brain never powered down. I like to use the laptop analogy. In this case, your brain is a laptop in sleep mode. It's not off. It's still running in the background. And if you don't properly charge it, it will eventually drain the battery down. There's another layer that most people miss, and that is you can be physically still, not move a muscle, and think that you're recovering, but you're not. If you're overthinking, your nervous system is activated. If you're in a constant state of low-level stress, your body does not interpret that as rest. Low-level stress is still stress. Your body interprets it as stay alert, be ready, take action when needed. So even when you're lying on the couch, binge watching YouTube videos, your system is still on high alert. Stillness does not equal recovery, because your system, your body, does not feel safe enough to let go. And you may be wondering, well, I'm not in any danger, so I don't understand. Your system doesn't know the difference between a real threat versus a perceived threat. And chronic stress is considered a threat. A threat is a threat. And the reason why your system sees chronic stress as a threat is because it's not the norm. And your nervous system's job is to keep you safe. For many high performers, this goes even a lot deeper. Your identity is tied to productivity. So when you're not working, you don't feel at ease. You feel restless, even guilty at times, like you should be doing something. As a former HR leader, I work very closely with executives and senior leaders, and I had taken a week off after Memorial Day weekend, which I rarely do. During my time off, I received a text message from one of the VPs asking me to look over his PowerPoint slides for an all-hands call he was delivering to his division. And although I felt compelled to review his slide deck, I didn't. But I felt very uncomfortable and guilty for it. Now, to my colleagues, I took a week off for some R&R. But internally, I didn't get any R&R because I was processing those emotions, the discomfort, the guilt. It was constant stimulation. Now, let's talk about rest. How do people rest? How do you rest? Perhaps it's sitting on the couch scrolling, or it could be binge watching YouTube videos or Netflix videos. It could be listening to podcasts while going on nature walks. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. And you can feel like it's a break, but it's not, because your brain is still working. It's still consuming and processing information. It's not getting what it needs most, which is space, silence, and time to reset. A former colleague of mine could never sit in silence. She was the type of person that always had something playing in the background, whether it be music or the TV on, or she had to be surrounded by friends and family. And there's nothing wrong with that. But she was always exhausted. No matter how much time she took off, she was tired because she never gave herself any restorative breaks. Remember, not all breaks are restorative. It needs to be intentional. Some breaks are just quiet forms of constant stimulation. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is the one thing that changes everything. And it's not what most people think. Not all exhaustion is mental. It's emotional as well. It's stress you haven't processed yet. It's frustration you've been carrying. Perhaps you're angry with a colleague or your manager for taking credit for your work and not even acknowledging your involvement with it. It's pressure. Maybe it's the workload that you've normalized. And that's not going to go away with time off because you're still carrying the weight, everything that you didn't give yourself space to process. So if you've ever thought, why doesn't rest work for me? This is why. You don't need more time off. You need the right type of recovery. And that's what I teach in my burnout recovery and stress management program. Real recovery isn't about doing less. It's about restoring the specific system that depleted you. And sometimes it could be your mind. Other times it could be your nervous system, or it could be emotional. But if you don't identify it correctly, you'll continue resting and still feel exhausted. So the next time you feel depleted, instead of asking yourself, why am I so tired? Ask yourself, what type of exhaustion am I experiencing? Because when you get that answer correct, that's when real recovery starts to work. And if you're ready to take control and get your life back on track, schedule a free burnout strategy session. I offer a few calls each week. And you have nothing to lose. You might come out of that call with more clarity on what to do next. I'll include the link in the description box below. And in the meantime, I'll see you in the next video.